he had discussions with LeBron James. But now here he's describing a situation where JJ Redick received the game ball after winning his 100th game, I believe, and LeBron James getting upset. He did not receive that game ball for winning the most games or something like that.
Rob Pelinka takes his turn to address the room, is holding the game ball, and presents it to JJ Redick. Shortly thereafter, LeBron James, who, of course, he arrives to the arena wearing like an outfit and then showers and changes and stuff and leaves in that outfit. Well, this night was still in the practice shorts, ice bags on his knees, slide sandals on his feet.
And he walked right out.
Walks out. By
the way, Dave McMenamin here on the Rich Eisen Show talking about his piece that's on ESPN.com that's kind of burning up the entire NBA.
LeBron James reportedly stormed out of the Lakers locker room upset because Rob Pelinka gave JJ Redick the game ball instead of him. Still had ice wrapped around his knees, slides on his feet, and practice shorts on like he couldn't even hide how irritated he was. We're talking about a man making $52 million this season acting bothered because somebody else got handed a basketball as a keepsake. Read that again slowly. How does a player with 4 championships, 4 MVPs, the all-time scoring title, and hundreds of millions earned from the Lakers alone get pressed over a game ball with a sticker attached to it? And listen to this. How many stories like this have to keep surfacing before LeBron fans finally admit there might actually be a pattern here?
So there's a story out there from Dave McMenamin, the guy that's been following LeBron James and collecting all these interviews in different cities from different NBA teams during this whole season. I think it was like 10 different interviews. But now here he's describing a situation where JJ Redick received the game ball after winning his 100th game, I believe, and LeBron James getting upset. He did not receive that game ball for winning the most games or something like that.
Dave McMenamin over at ESPN has basically been shadowing LeBron James all across the country this entire season. The man's been sitting down with him for interviews in city after city, Chicago, Cleveland, and a bunch of other stops along the way. He ended up putting together a full series of long-form conversations with ESPN's 4-time MVP. This major feature had been building up behind the scenes for weeks, and when the article finally dropped recently, parts of it instantly set the basketball world on fire. But out of everything in that story, most people locked in on one specific moment buried deep inside the piece: the game ball situation.
I'm going to show you that story from Dave McMenamin so you can listen to exactly what he says and how it's described, and I'm going to show you the situation where JJ Redick actually receives that ball. And that situation made LeBron James uncomfortable and unhappy. The guy literally behaves like an emotional woman. I'm sorry, a person, not every woman, so don't get me wrong, but an emotional female that can't control his emotions and constantly feels that he's not being appreciated. There's so much feminine energy coming out from LeBron James. It's ridiculous.
The setup here is pretty straightforward. The Lakers defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers earlier in the season, but this wasn't just a regular season victory. It came packed with milestones all over the floor. LeBron James officially became the all-time leader in regular season wins in NBA history with that game. Luka Doncic also crossed the 15,000 career points mark in the same matchup. Rui Hachimura quietly hit the 5,000-point milestone of his own. On top of that, the team locked in back-to-back 50-win seasons, and to add even more context, head coach JJ Redick picked up his 100th career coaching win that night. So you're looking at a single game stacked with multiple historic moments all at once. There were more than enough reasons for the entire locker room to celebrate something special together.
Rob Pelinka gave the game ball to JJ Redick when LeBron James expected the ball to be given to him because he won some crazy number of games or whatever it might be. But they gave the game ball to JJ Redick because it was his 100th game won as a coach. And supposedly LeBron James got really upset at that. So let me play those comments from Dave McMenamin for you, because it's ridiculous. And like I said, if this is true, there's so much feminine energy coming from LeBron James. It's ridiculous at this point. Imagine Michael Jordan acting like this with Kobe Bryant. This is ridiculous story.
The post-game locker room moment was meant to be a full team celebration. JJ Redick, as head coach, was the first to speak. He ran through everything the team had just accomplished that night. He highlighted the franchise milestones. He acknowledged LeBron James setting the all-time regular season wins record. He also recognized Luka Doncic and Rui Hachimura hitting their scoring milestones. Just standard head coach leadership in a moment like that. Then, Rob Pelinka, the general manager, stepped forward, and in his hands he had the game ball that had been set aside for the celebration. That was the official game ball chosen by the organization. Pelinka then presented that ball directly to JJ Redick to honor his 100th career coaching win.
Beat the Cavs. It completes what ends up, we don't know, but at this point, in retrospect, they've now gone 16-2 over a 32-day stretch. And in this game against the Cavs, LeBron James, most wins in NBA history combined, regular season.
And against the Cavs.
And against the Cavs, right? 15,000 points for Luka Doncic for his career, 5,000 points for Rui Hachimura, and it secures back-to-back 50-win seasons and 100 wins in JJ Redick's coaching career. So in the post-game locker room, JJ Redick doing a good job and kind of recognizing this group accomplishment is listing off all the things that were done by his team that day. And as JJ's addressing the room, Rob Pelinka takes his turn to address the room, is holding the game ball, and presents it to JJ Redick.
The team then rolled the video on the screen. JJ Redick's kids popped up first, speaking directly to their dad. They congratulated him. They told him he was a great father and a great coach. They said they were proud of him. They told him they loved him. And the moment honestly came off really heartfelt. Anybody with kids knows exactly the type of emotional hit that kind of message brings. It's the kind of family video that lands right in the chest of a parent without warning. Redick was standing there watching it all unfold, clearly emotional. You could see him tearing up in real time, but he also looked genuinely happy and proud at the same time. And the entire locker room just sat back watching a coach experience one of those rare career moments that means more than any trophy or stat line ever could.
Shortly thereafter, LeBron James, who, of course, he arrives to the arena wearing like an outfit and then showers and changes and stuff and leaves in that outfit. Well, this night was still in the practice shorts, ice bags on his knees, slide sandals on his feet.
And he walked right out.
Walks out.
By the way, Dave McMenamin here on the Rich Eisen Show talking about his piece that's on ESPN.com that's kind of burning up the entire NBA community, and certainly here in Los Angeles, California, live on the Rich Eisen Show. So LeBron James walked out with bags of ice on his knees? Or took those off and left? Do we know that?
No. I mean, I saw it with my own two eyes. The bags of ice were still on his knees.
According to McMenamin's reporting, this is where the LeBron angle actually enters the picture. At that moment, LeBron James was still in his practice gear. He hadn't even gone through his full post-game routine yet. Ice bags were still strapped to both knees, slides still on his feet. No shower, no outfit change, no transition into his usual post-game look. He was still in full recovery mode after the game. Then, the game ball was awarded to JJ Redick, the video tribute played, the family moment unfolded, and that's when LeBron James got up and walked out of the locker room, still in practice shorts, still with ice bags on his knees, still in slides. He left right in the middle of his coach's milestone celebration. He didn't stay for the full moment. He didn't take part in the team reaction. He just exited the room entirely. McMenamin later broke this down on The Rich Eisen Show in detail, saying he personally observed the entire scene, including LeBron's walkout, the ice bags, and the timing of it all. He described the situation not as LeBron being angry that Redick was honored, more so LeBron internalizing the fact that no game ball was set aside for his milestone in that moment. According to that framing, it ties into a longer pattern of LeBron feeling overlooked or underappreciated during his Lakers tenure. And that's where the contrast becomes unavoidable. We're talking about a 4-time MVP, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, a player who has earned hundreds of millions of dollars from the Lakers alone, a franchise centerpiece who had roster moves built around his preferences and even saw his own son drafted by the organization. And yet, in this telling, a single game ball being awarded to someone else becomes enough of a trigger for him to remove himself from a team celebration. That's a hard moment to reconcile with the idea of leadership. That's a hard moment to square with the image of a franchise cornerstone. Because leadership usually looks like staying present even when the spotlight shifts elsewhere for a moment. But in this interpretation, the reaction reads differently. It reads like a man who is constantly tracking respect in real time. Like every locker room moment has to reflect his status. Like even brief attention given elsewhere gets processed as a slight. And when the focus moves away, even for something as routine as a coaching milestone celebration, the response becomes physical distance. That's the tension at the center of this story. And when you stack it up against how other all-time greats have handled similar moments, the contrast gets even sharper. Michael Jordan, for example, would not be walking out of a celebration honoring Phil Jackson's 100th win. Jordan would have grabbed the mic, cracked a few jokes, talked a little trash, and instantly turned the entire room into a movie. Kobe Bryant would have stood there with his arms folded, locked in, giving Phil Jackson a nod so intense it felt like a statement, making the moment matter without ever stealing it. Tim Duncan would have been the first one out of the locker room, clapping like it was the most normal thing in the world, but somehow still the loudest. Those guys didn't live for every locker room moment to revolve around them. LeBron James, at 41 years old, with 4 championships and the scoring record basically untouchable, still struggles when the spotlight isn't centered on him. And listen to this, that's exactly what the McMenamin story exposes. No matter how anyone tries to dress it up, the core facts don't shift. The ball went to the coach. The video was shown to the coach.
LeBron walked out. That's the behavior, plain and simple. Calling it some complex front office misunderstanding is just polished spin. Now hold up. Look at what the Lakers have actually done for this man during his run in Los Angeles. They've paid him roughly $350 million across his Lakers years. In just the most recent season alone, that number sat around $52 million. They built entire rosters around what he wanted. They brought in Anthony Davis when he asked for AD, they brought in Russell Westbrook when he pushed for Westbrook, they even made the bold move for Luka Doncic, shifting the entire direction of the franchise because the window was closing and they needed a reset. They hired the coach, who was reportedly comfortable with JJ Redick. They drafted his son, LeBron James, even though by most evaluations, Bronny wasn't a true draft-level player at that stage. They still gave Bronny developmental chances to grow. They even created the chance for a father and son to share the floor in NBA games together. That's history you don't just stumble into. That's the relationship the Lakers built with LeBron. Nearly $500 million in total money, a son placed into the organization, roster moves shaped by his wishes, a 2020 title, his preferred coach, and star after star brought in at massive cost. This franchise has bent itself backwards for nearly a decade just to keep him satisfied. And yet, the reporting still says he walked out of a celebration because the game ball went elsewhere. McMenamin raised the question that every Lakers executive should be forced to answer. Are you ever actually going to make him feel wanted there? Read that again carefully, because the implication is wild when you break it down. Despite $350 million, a drafted son, and full roster control influence, the idea is that LeBron still doesn't feel valued? That framing is so far removed from reality that it almost sounds like satire. No franchise in modern NBA history has done more for a single superstar than the Lakers have for him, and if he still feels underappreciated, that says more about him than it does about the organization. Now, the Bronny James angle deserves real attention here. Bronny came out as a borderline G League level prospect at best when he entered the draft conversation. Most of the discussion around him wasn't about pure talent, but whether his father's presence would force a team's hand. The Lakers ultimately selected him in the second round, and most analysts agree that without LeBron on the roster, Bronny likely doesn't hear his name called at all. Not by the Lakers, not by any team. Pure scouting evaluation pegged his game outside of NBA-ready prospects. From that point on, he has been treated as a long-term development piece. And listen, the Lakers still gave Bronny that exact opportunity. They kept him on the roster, they put him in real minutes when the situation made sense, and they built one of the rarest father and son storylines in all of pro sports. Without that Lakers decision, none of that narrative even exists. Right now, Bronny is back in the G League full-time, and in a blunt reality, he may never consistently see an NBA jersey again. That entire shared father and son NBA experience is something the Lakers manufactured.
They made it happen because they understood what it meant to LeBron and what it meant for keeping him satisfied. And after all of that, the same star still walks out of a locker room over the game ball going to the coach. The McMenamin report even tried to soften things by adding a LeBron quote about whether any tension needed clearing before next season. LeBron simply said there is no static on his side. That one line is meant to calm everything down and signal that things are fine. In reality, the walkout is framed as just a brief moment of frustration. He is supposedly past it now, and the negotiations are expected to move forward as normal. Everybody is told to relax. But that quote is carrying a lot more weight than it seems. It is exactly the kind of statement a superstar gives when he wants every option on the table for the biggest possible deal. When he says there is no static, what it really translates to is that the Lakers can still offer the max, and he is open to it. The walkout itself was real, the frustration behind it was real, and the underlying grievance was very real. But money has a way of smoothing everything out, because at this level, money always smooths everything out. The narrative will end up being that everything was fine and that the McMenamin report exaggerated the situation. But the truth is, the relationship is transactional in the same way most superstar team dynamics are in today's NBA, and it continues as long as the money flow continues. That is the full breakdown. Tap the like button if you are still shocked a veteran star walked out over a basketball moment. Subscribe so you catch the next breakdown as soon as it drops. Drop your opinion in the comments and let the supporters and critics go at it. The Lakers paid him $350 million, and he still wanted the ball in that moment. Until next time.